Oh baby, I am who I am. My name is my name. Welcome in. I'm a little bit quiet. I'm going to try to bring the energy. I'm going to do what I can. All right, we got a full house, and I wanted to get the video out, so I don't care. But here we are in the third annual draft recap, man. This is always fun to do because I feel like last year I took it easy on y'all. You know, Bates is going to hit me with I turned it off halfway through. He's dumb as fuck. Michael's gonna send a profanity-laced message. People are gonna tell me I don't know anything, but last year I kept referencing that as well. I was only off on a couple teams, and they weren't that far off, right? They just weren't. So I'll say this, guys. Take it how you will. Go cry to your mom. Hunter's team actually looks amazing this year. Oh, he was going to make it work anyways, wasn't he? That's all I'm going to hear. Like, I get it, man. You see the receivers. You know what's happening. All right, and I'm not going to hold back on my team because last year I was being honest. I thought my team was This year I think my team is ready to fist you bitches. Fist you and send you home. Teary-eyed and all, man. Used and abused. That's what I think I'm going to do to all y'all, basically. But let's get out the way with the worst picks in each round. We're going to go through the first round. Cooper Kupp is probably the worst pick here, and Michael's going to get mad or whatever you want to say. I don't give a fuck. Taking Tyreek Hill 3 overall put Michael in a very bad position, but taking a guy with a soft tissue injury whose team just came off a year where they should have been a top 5 pick, but they gave away their whole future to get Matt Stafford, right? And Von Miller and shit to win a Super Bowl. It's just not a good look because what you're looking at is before the report comes out that he went to a specialist for a hamstring, you're looking at a chance where Cooper Kupp legitimately will play possibly 5 games because this is what's going to happen. Matthew Stafford's probably going to get hurt again. The Rams are going to be tanking. And then when teams tank, their superstars do not play. And I think that's what Michael's looking at, unfortunately. So do I absolutely hate the pick? No, because he has high upside. But we are in a 10-man draft. There's no need to get risky. Or maybe that's more reason to get risky. But in a 10-man, I mean, these teams are fucking loaded. Like, these teams are loaded. That's why it's hard to decipher those teams. But, yeah, Cooper Kupp just isn't the greatest pick in the world. I can't believe Lucas got Christian McCaffrey. And if you're yelling at me, why don't you say Travis Kelce is a dumb pick? He wasn't injured before the draft. That's just unfortunate for Bates. It just is. Other than that, I just think Michael got put in a shit position, man. I really do. Because, I mean, where else do you go? Eckler, Barkley, or Diggs? I don't know. I get the upside pick, but once again, you cannot win a draft with your first-round pick or win a league with your first-round pick. You can lose it, though. You can. And I just think he put himself in a very bad position. But yeah, in the first couple rounds, guys, I don't care where we're at with this, right? Because once again, my 2-year-old niece can draft in the first 3 rounds. Like, you just get the highest projected player, you're going to look decent. And in the second round, these are my personal opinions on things. Obviously, Lucas is a fucking moron. And if you just, I mean, this guy, his roster is horrible. I know he's just going to say in the group chat, oh, just wait, man. The season hasn't even started, man. Just wait till we get going, man. Or whatever. You got Christian, you got Patty. He's going to be lucky to put up 120 a week, and he has those 2 guys on his team. That's pretty fucking sad. But yeah, Patty Mahomes, the worst pick by far. Players I just hate in general. Now, I don't hate Bijan in the second round, but if you don't know my opinion on rookie RBs, I think I said it during the draft. They start hot, end bad, or start bad, end hot, and then they're a good playoff pickup. I just don't like them in early rounds because it just doesn't work out. Tony Pollard is a weird one. It really is a weird one. I just don't even know what to think about him and his goal line work. And then outside of that, I don't hate really any pick. Once again, these guys are fucking loaded. It's loaded season out here. Okay? So then we get into where it gets a little sketchy for motherfuckers, right? At this point, I got Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Justin Jefferson. I got 3 dudes who could possibly end top 5 to 10 at their position already, right? I like the Joe Mixon pick. T. Higgins is always a pick that I don't like, but when you go look at T. Higgins, you go, oh, he finished like wide receiver 20 last year. Like, I don't even know what he finished this year. Let's see. Yeah, wide receiver 19. Am I taking wide receiver 19 in the 3rd round of a 10-man? No. I would take Devontae Smith over him. I would take Chris Olave over him. I would take DK Metcalf over him, and I hate DK Metcalf. I would have taken Calvin Ridley over him. I would have taken Amari Cooper over him. Do I need to go on? Like, a lot of guys I would have taken over T. Higgins at that point, but I get it, right? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, you get the offense. He's going to eat whatever. Once again, worst pick, Lucas again. Taking a tight end before round 8 this year, other than Kelsey, is just stupid. It's just dumb. Just like TJ Hawkinson over here in the 4th round. I get it, but also I think that's Jason's team. He has shown in the past that he likes 2 tight ends. I don't know why, but he does. So, yeah, and then in the 4th round, what do I hate? TJ Hawkinson, I hate it. I'm not high on Keenan Allen, but I could see it. DeAndre Hopkins, once again, Lucas was just drafting back of the jersey names. No bullshit. And then once again, George Kittle. What's the point of getting George Kittle? He's going to be hurt 17 weeks a year, but he's going to play every game, so you defend yourself drafting him and pray that he puts up points. He's going to get you an amazing week here and there. I don't want that motherfucker. And then the reason I got Jalen Hurts is because with a no RB strategy that I was going, I got to have some sort of run threat, and there was just no value at the running back position at that point in the draft. I mean, you look at the people that went. Aaron Jones, I'm not high on him. Alvin Kamara, Dameon Pierce, shit like that. I just wanted a high-level QB, and then I flipped around and got Christian Watson, who I think is going to be a really good fantasy player. And if you think he's going to be bad, what do you think his floor is? Because I think he's going to end as a top 20 wide receiver at his worst. So you're talking about a dude, me, who has 3 guys who are top 10 wide receivers in fantasy. And Amon-Ra missed some games last year. You can say he played the Dallas game. He got hurt on the first snap again. He would have ended top 10. Michael's going to try to be particular about that, so I'm just talking to him right now with that. And then, also, Jonathan Taylor in the 4th. I hate to tell you this, LD. That's a really bad pick, buddy. I know he's 24. I know he wants a trade. Even if he gets a trade, the way the NFL is run, he's going to get, sure, the bulk of the carries, but it's not going to be nothing close to what he did on the Colts, man. He's talented, but I know that ankle and back injury are real. They are real, and I don't know if they trade him until the damn deadline. And maybe that's what you want, but I would not trust him with his back and his ankle. I just wouldn't trust it. Wouldn't at all. Yeah, and then into the 5th round, I like Lamar Jackson. I wanted him, but I got Jalen Hurts instead. Arguably going to be QB1. I could not believe that I was going to get him. Just amazed. Lucas with the Dameon Pierce pick. I think he's an underrated fantasy player. And so far, I love Andy's team anyway. So I really don't have any major complaints throughout this draft, other than one. Where did he do it at? Where did my Diggs curves left? I just got that. My dick turns. Dude, just got it. It's a good joke. Why did he get Njoku in the 11th round? That's what pissed me off because I wanted him right there. I wanted him right on that turnaround. I'm like, everybody's got a tight end, and I forget his ass is going to, do that. Anyways, let's just get into the teams because I'm not just going to sit here and do this all day. You want to get into some team rankings? Let's do it. I'll just go through the flaws of some teams that I see, and then we'll go from there. I'll come back and give the ranking, okay? So here we go. Worst team you have ever drafted, and Michael can sit there and say it's not because he has to defend himself, and he's already in his own head. It's going to be one of those seasons that Michael leaves the group chat at least 7 times. This is the worst team he has had since I've been in the league, bar none. And if I can, I will go look at the team. I will go look at the history. I will. His teams have been nuts. He's acting like he had what? Last year he had Josh Jacobs, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith. Like, and then you look at this roster, and I think Michael just has a bunch of maybes. So look at this position rank. Michael had 4 people in the top 5 at their position, 2 others in the top 10 at their position. Okay? And then on his bench, it's a defense. Who cares? Yeah, that doesn't count. But yeah, and by the way, Deontay Johnson ended wide receiver 28. Motherfucker had the most catches ever without a touchdown. So if he sees the end zone 3 or 4 times, he literally probably is a top 20 wide receiver. So my point is made. His worst players on his team were fucking wide receiver 2s. So already this year's team is way worse than this one. Am I tripping on that? Am I wrong? Do I need to keep going? Where's the next year? Right here, show all. Let's go to Michael's team. I just got to prove my point because I know I'm right. This is easily the worst team he's had. Look at this year. 1, 2. I mean, look at this shit, guys. Number 13 quarterback, which really wasn't even his quarterback because he had Lamar Jackson. Antonio Gibson finishes number 10. I'm not going to count a tight end. Look at this shit. Chase Edmonds, he probably played him because he was a backup and got in there. He averaged 12 points a game as a bum. Number 8 tight end. His worst receiver was number 16. He had Tyreek Hill and Justin fucking Jefferson. I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the top 10 at their position, and Lamar Jackson missed games, so he didn't make the top 10. He was top 15. What the fuck are we talking about? It's not close. And the thing is, when you say shit like that to Michael, he thinks I'm calling his team trash. And I'm not. Do I think his team is, like, really good? Nope. And that's okay. We're just gonna say it's not. So here's my only issue with Michael's team. 1, his wide receiving core without Cooper Kupp, which is a big without, right? But the way that it's looking, he is not going to play. That's just a fact. And just my opinion on it, like, if Cooper Kupp plays, are we dead set that a dude with a hammy injury? When have we heard of a guy with a fucked up hamstring just coming back and playing 17 games, or even 15, or even like 13? Like, honestly, they're out for a while. Then Nick Chubb loved the pick. Joe Burrow, arguably QB1 this year. Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall is where it gets a little dicey for me, because I told him this, I'll tell y'all this. I think it's going to be a situation where, yes, Breece Hall is quote-unquote more talented, even though Dalvin Cook, just off fantasy alone, was what? I think RB11? Am I tripping? Maybe he was that in standard. RB11, guys. RB11 did not touch the ball damn near all game, most of the games. And you could go through his game log and be particular, but I'm telling you right now, I watched almost every Vikings game. Okay, I did. Didn't get the ball a lot, and he had arguably the worst O-line in the league. Still finished RB11, showing that he can have some statistical output. And his scoring inside the 5 was horrible. Horrible. But, like I said, we can say that Breece Hall is going to be the one, but I think he's going to be in a situation to start both of those running backs or not know which one to start. All right. I'm high on Chris Olave, but just because I'm high on him doesn't mean he's going to fulfill the expectation I have. Amari Cooper has been a wide receiver 1 in fantasy now for some time, so he's almost like he's one of the most underrated fantasy players that we got now. He's going to get his 90 catches, 1,000 yards, and like 8 touchdowns. It's a good pick. And then I'm super high on Debo, just his upside. Like, yes, he could get hurt. And if you keep saying that, yes, he could get hurt, like, we're not going to have a good conversation about fantasy, right? Because you're going to look at my team, and the only argument that you have is, yeah, but if one of your receivers, if they roll an ankle or the other ones roll ankles, okay, dude, I get it. If your whole team rolls a fucking ankle, you're fucked too, dumbass. Anyways, Jamal Williams in the flex, don't hate it because he's an RB1 for, 3 or 4 weeks, however long he's suspended. And then the bench is the bench. I think Jerick McKinnon's a good pickup. I don't know how to feel about Treylon with DeAndre Hopkins. Not even the talent of those two. Just having Ryan Tannehill as your fucking quarterback. And I've said all year that I think Tyler Algier is one of the more underrated guys because of how I feel about rookie RBs, and thinking a 1,000-yard wide running back could just go to nothing in fantasy is insane. I'll put Michael at the middle right now. We'll keep going. Now, Sin City Ballers has a big problem with starting Deshaun. Am I high on Deshaun? You're damn right. I think he's going to end as a top 10 quarterback, but that's going to take some time, in my opinion. That's going to take like 4 weeks. And by that time, LD won't have given up yet, right? He hasn't given up yet, but he's looking for other options. And he's probably going to get lucky, and then he's going to go off, and then he's going to start him, and he'll be fine. But those first 4 weeks, I think he'll be sweating just off Deshaun alone. Aaron Jones, super low on Aaron Jones, man. He gets no goal line opportunity. I don't know if he even gets the ball like that out of the backfield with Jordan Love, like catching those passes, which is good in PPR. I just have an experience with him in standard where he's so touchdown dependent that it's almost detrimental when he's getting those catches because he's getting so many yards on those catches, but he's not scoring, so it didn't matter. But we are in PPR, so it does matter. It's not Aaron Rodgers, though. Aaron Rodgers wanted to give him the ball. I don't know about Jordan Love. He has 2 really good wide receivers in Christian Watson and old dude Romeo Doubs. So that's just my opinion on it. But I like the Joe Mixon pick. You can't. Jamar Chase and Garrett Wilson, disgusting. I absolutely dislike anything doing with the Buccaneers, but if you go look at the numbers with Baker, his most targeted player is always a slot receiver. So if anything, he's going to have value somewhat. I don't think Baker's thrown but for 300 yards like 3 or 4 times in the last 3 years, by the way. So the production just isn't going to be there because the quarterback can't do it. Okay? Kyle Pitts, we're just depending on his talent, right? We have what proof do we have that he can produce in fantasy? Excuse me. Those last couple weeks, like, what are we doing here, right? His rookie year, like, what are we doing? You don't know. J.K. Dobbins. Just look up the highlight of J.K. Dobbins running last year. Just look it up. 4 knee surgeries in 3 years. He's not going to stay healthy. I hate to assume that, but I know this. And I know he's like, well, wait till I plug in Jonathan Taylor, dude. Don't know if he's going to play this year. I hate to tell you. Rashad Penny is close to getting cut off the team. I like the Romeo Doubs pick. I don't know what to think of Adam Thielen. I like DJ Shark over him. But once again, I think last year, though, I ranked LD last in fantasy, didn't I? I gave him last, close to it. One of the worst teams. And when I look at this team, I feel as though it's His team is And I'm just going to say it. His team is blah. But you know what? Fucking, let's just pick a player. Gabe Davis is going to end up being wide receiver 3 on this season because Stephon Diggs will get fucking traded or something. Like it's LD. That's what happens. And that's what I'm saying with Michael. Just because I don't like the look of your team on paper don't mean shit. One, because there's only 4 people in this fucking league who know how to manage a team. Last year, the fact that I made the playoffs, you all should be ashamed of yourselves and shouldn't have got Christmas presents, shouldn't have celebrated your birthday, shouldn't have gone out on a fucking weekend. You should be ashamed of yourselves. It's one of the worst teams I've ever drafted in my life. And guess what I did this year? Drafted better. This is the year Justin Scott, very nice guy. Giants fan, I believe, as well. Justin Herbert, Saquon, Derrick Henry. I'm off of Derrick Henry because of his age. And you know what? Guess who was off of him last year? Me. Guess who was off of him the year before? Probably me. I don't think so. But it's just one of those things. I don't like 30-year-old running backs. I think he's 29, about to be 30. But he's your RB2. So it's fucking Derrick Henry. He can get 2,000 yards anytime he wants. Keenan Allen is a weird one for me. I like him, but he has so many freak injuries, right? And it's not Mike Williams where it's a touchdown or bust guy. Like I had Mike Williams in most of my leagues last year. Keenan Allen is like their go-to guy on offense. I would just like him to stay healthy. And I'm just curious how this offense is ran with fucking Kellen Moore. And Mike Evans, I'll say it. I hate Mike Evans. He's probably going to be worse than he was last year. I think he finished wide receiver, 16, 21, some shit. 17, there you go. Yeah, I just don't see it, man. I don't see Baker getting us down the field that much to even give him touchdown opportunities, much less make him like a fantasy relevant player. And I'm a Buccaneers fan. Like, I just don't see it. Michael Thomas, we haven't seen him play in 3 years, huh? We haven't seen him play. One ankle roll and he was fucked. Once again, Darren Waller, another guy we haven't seen play in quite some time, like consistently. He didn't miss every game or anything, but we're still waiting on that old Darren Waller to show up. And Bates, I mean, LD made this point in the group chat, which I've made multiple times on multiple videos. We look at Travis Kelce and Gronk as these like models of consistency at tight end. Tight ends don't last long in the NFL, man. That's why when you name the great tight ends that we've seen, what do you name? You go Jason Witten, Tony Gonzalez, Gronk, and Travis Kelce. All those group of two are damn near, 15 years apart of coming into the league? 10 years apart? Like, that's what I'm talking about. They don't last long. So when a guy like Darren Waller has all these injuries, I think the upside at tight end is worth it. But I think what we're missing here on Justin's roster is any sort of, I know this person's going to ball out, right? Outside of Saquon and Justin Herbert. Like, which guy do you look at and go, I know he's going to ball? And you can even say Derek. But outside of that top three, we're kind of in the air of like, what is he going to get? And Jerry Jeudy could be a good pickup, but once again, hamstring injury, those are never good with skill position players ever. They've never been good, bro. And a good sleeper on his team, Sam Laporta, by the way. Like that. QB whisper, man. I've been waiting to laugh at this shit. Oh, man. Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, Dameon Pierce. Oh, my God. How could it get any better? Oh, wait. It gets way worse. DeAndre Hopkins, just a name. And I'm not sleeping on DeAndre Hopkins. It has nothing to do with his talent. His fucking quarterback is Ryan Tannehill and he plays for the Titans. When's the last time you just been like, damn, Ryan Tannehill lit it up? He lit it up. And DeAndre Hopkins, hate to tell you, I watched him play last year. Not willingly, I kind of had to for playoff implications in fantasy leagues. He looks a little washed. He looks a little slower. I'm not saying his stats and hands aren't there, but he looks a little slower, I will say. I've always been a big Scary Terry fan. I just don't know what to expect with Sam Howell. I really don't. I don't know what to think of that offense. I don't know what I'm going to be looking at with Eric Bieniemy. They can't be any worse than last year, so I'm always a big Terry McLaurin fan, but not this year in particular just because of the unproven quarterback. And yes, Carson Wentz isn't good, but I knew that he would chunk it deep to fucking Terry McLaurin. And then when Heineke comes in, then I knew that Terry McLaurin was going to be unlocked, right? One of the worst picks in the draft, in my opinion, Marquise Brown. Dude, I don't know who their starting quarterback is, and I'm not going to Google it. I don't think Lucas knows that Kyler Murray tore his ACL. And once again, like I talked about Cooper Kupp, when a team is trying to tank, now I would rather have Kyler in there because he's definitely going to lose you some games, but he's also so good that he can just pull off a 31-28 victory somewhere. So he's not going to play so they can get the one pick and get Caleb Williams. Just letting you know, man. Bad pick. Very bad pick. Mark Andrews always looks good, right? Like, ooh, Mark Andrews, number one target in Baltimore's offense. They have a new offensive coordinator who likes to use, Todd Monken used to be the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers. He likes to use a tight end a lot, but nagging knee injury last year. I think he's close to 30. I'm not going to say he's old. I just don't see it working out for him. I'm a big Zay Flowers guy this year, though, so I'm hating. And it's not that I don't think Mark Andrews will finish top 5 at his position. That's the difference, is that I know he will, but it's not worth a third-round pick when it comes to a tight end. Oh, I got number 5 tight end. Yeah, he's got 200 less points than fucking Travis Kelce. I don't give a fuck. Next guy, DeAndre Swift. Actually, very high on DeAndre Swift, by the way. Very high on him in that system. He basically has no competition other than Kenneth Gainwell. I think he's going to ball out. I actually have him in my standard league. I believe I do. I think I got him. And then his bench is a bunch of dog shit. I like Quentin Johnson, the rookie. Raheem Mostert, actually, with Jeff Wilson going on IR. The dude that I got, Devin Achane, made a TikTok about him a month ago. Love him more than Raheem Mostert because I think he's a rookie that when he gets his chance, he's not losing his job. Once again, quit drafting Arizona players. I don't know why you got Jonathan Mingo when you have DJ Shark and fucking Adam Thielen out there. I understand he's going to have some weeks because a rookie with rookies. And then Deuce Vaughn, he's going to have some weeks, but other than that, All right. To Anthony's team, I'm going to try to speed this up just so I can give the official rankings because I still have so many teams to go. So if you think you're left out for me not analyzing your team, once again, get the fuck over it. I need to go to fuck to bed in like 20 minutes. All right. Trevor Lawrence loved the pick. Loved it last year. Didn't stick with it. Austin Eckler, Ramondre. We all see the teams here. Big holes in this team. I don't know because he's got the depth. I just think he doesn't have depth at running back because I'm a big believer in Elijah Moore as well. I just think he's too talented. I love Cortland Sutton being the wide receiver one. With Jerry Jeudy out, and I know somebody out there is screaming, but Denver sucks. They just got Sean Payton, bro. Sean Payton has had a top 10 offense 10 out of his 16 years in the NFL, bro. Top 10. Top 10. All right? I don't think that randomly goes away with Russell Wilson. So just keep that in mind. And I know that's why Michael got the backup wide receiver, Marvin Mims, I think his name was. Didn't he come out of OU? Yeah, Elijah Mitchell, I love Jaylen Warren, by the way. I think he will eventually not take his job, Najee Harris, but he will be taking a lot of the workload away from Najee. I really do believe it. I don't hate Anthony's team. I think having two Pittsburgh Steelers with Kenny Pickett out there is going to be dicey. Mike Williams, I'm not high on Mike Williams this year either, so that's going to be a little dicey. I think Drake London will end up being his starting wide receiver for either Deontay or Mike, and it has to be Mike, in my opinion. I think that should happen by like week 2. That's just me, though. Okay, to Andy's team, lacking at quarterback with Kirk Cousins, obviously. But if you want to talk about depth at running back, I actually love his running backs. Like, Miles Sanders is also one of those slept-on guys. He's a starting running back with a rookie a rookie quarterback in Frank Reich who loves to run the ball, guys. I never got the whole sleeping on Miles Sanders thing. It's not like I picked him in any of my drafts, but when I saw him there, I wanted to take him so bad. But he has Tony Pollard, who is a question mark, but I believe in his production. I'm not saying he's going to finish RB9 like he did last year, but I believe he can get close to that point. Once again, I have a very low grade for fantasy on these rookie running backs, and I know how talented Bijan is. I know how talented Jahmyr Gibbs is. I just hate them in the NFL because their bodies don't last. You get both Devontae's and DJ Moore, disgusting wide receiving core. Kenneth Walker, that's his RB3. And then Miles Sanders on the bench. Smith and Jigba, who I think is going to take over for Tyler Lockett, like kind of take his role in that offense. I like Andy's team, and I know we all want to talk about depth. Nobody in this league has just depth, or I just like, oh my God, look at them. Oh, look at their depth. I don't have anybody in this league like that, so let's just get that out the way. My team, I obviously love my team. You can poke holes in if you will, and I know my weaknesses. That's the thing. So Isaiah Pacheco and Cam Akers. If you have question marks with them, right? Last year, Isaiah Pacheco finished, I don't know in full point. I know in half-point PPR he finished top 20, by the way. That's insane. Dude, you can literally go look it up in half-point. He finished top 20. Or it may have been standard when I did my video. But Jerick McKinnon had 9 touchdown catches. Patty Mahomes threw the ball inside the 10-yard line 74 times, I think. I think it was 73, 74 times. And the next closest was Kirk Cousins, talking about Dalvin Cook at 53. I think that was the stat. Cam Akers. All right, I get it. Cam Akers, he's not as good as he used to be, yada, yada. I just have this feeling that if he got to go, well, let me not do that. If he got to go through all that last year and then still comes back and they're like, no, I mean, look at the last, 3-4 weeks. He went through all that, getting benched. Coaches didn't like him to becoming their number one option. I think he's going to get the ball a lot. And then my wide receivers speak for themselves. I mean, Jesus Christ. Just a bunch of monsters out there. Jalen Waddle finished top 10 last year. Amon-Ra St. Brown right outside the top 10, I believe. Maybe he was top 10. Number 7, dude, my rankings are all fucked up in my head. And then Justin Jefferson, obviously being legendary at fucking fantasy. Tyler Higbee, I don't know about him. I don't care about tight end. I know that fucked me last year, but I don't care about tight end. I don't. I just said, fuck it, I'm getting a quarterback. Now, with my quote-unquote depth, let me explain some of these. So, like Michael said, Denver's situation is just like the Jets, but I would say, yes, you are correct, but they are my backup running backs, and they may end up being my starters. They might. David Montgomery, nobody's high on him. Michael's telling me I have high-end RB3s, which is so funny. So funny because they're not going to be near RB3s. Like, they may get hurt or something, but no way. And I'm not saying I have 4 guys in the top 20 or 5 guys, however many I have here. But yeah, David Montgomery is going to be the goal line back. And like I said, with my opinion on rookie RBs, I'll say it again. David Montgomery is going to be the goal line back. And Jahmyr Gibbs, in my opinion, his fucking carries are going to start. He's going to be the third down back, get his little dump offs, and that's going to be fine. My dude's going to be scoring touchdowns. I think Zay Flowers becomes the number one option at wide receiver for Baltimore. Like, with the injury-prone wide receivers around him, I think they have no choice. Tank Bigsby, sleeper pick, rookie running back for the Jacksonville Jags. I don't trust Etienne. I know it's his year removed from the torn Achilles. Still don't trust him. And then Devin Achane, I think he's going to be a big pickup, but that's just me. Anyways, I definitely, to me, have the number one team. Lamar me daddy. Okay, so without the Kelsey, so let's say this is straight post-draft, without the Kelsey report that he hyperextended his knee. That's what I'm going off of. You can hate his running backs. Like, I don't know about his running backs. Like, what is Alexander Madison through 17 games? We've never seen it. We will never know until this year, I guess, right? Najee Harris has always been a guy who's kind of like Joe Mixon in the sense that you look at his yards per carry or you watch him play and you really don't see a lot of runs over like 10 yards, but he always ends up with some points. Where did he finish last year? I know he hurt his ankle. Yeah, he finished 14th, and he came back after the bye, after getting his work done on his knee or his ankle, whatever happened. Yeah, I mean, 27, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, 20, 14. I mean, that's just consistent production, man. And I don't hate Najee as a player. I'm just like so like cold on him, but he gives you your points when you need it. A.J. Brown is A.J. Brown. He's going to finish top 10 again, most likely, if he stays healthy. T. Higgins, once again, a guy I'm cold on. Brandon Cooks being your number 3 wide receiver. Now, do I think Brandon Cooks is underrated? Absolutely. A lot of fucking 1,000-yard wide receivers or receiving seasons for him. A lot of 1,000-yard receiving seasons for Brandon Cooks. I just don't know what he is in this offense with Michael Gallup coming back off the ACL a year removed from it now. I think that's his comeback year. I don't know how that works out. Travis Kelce. It's Travis Kelce. I know he's hurt now, but just post-draft, I would have been like, this team is decent. He has a lot of flaws. I don't like anything to do with the Bucs. Once again, we have one of the worst O-lines in the league. I never understood people saying he was a breakout candidate, Rachaad White. Don't get it. Never will. Don't know how he's a breakout candidate. But yeah, and then his bench is his bench. He's got some Jahan Dotson, who could be a touchdown and bust guy. Antonio Gibson, which is very interesting to me, the backfield with Washington. Dude, I just don't know what to think about it because they're going to have to give the ball to somebody. And if you pick the right one, you might be in for a nice little top 15 running back action. Mostly with Eric Bieniemy, who likes to throw to his running backs. Sky Moore is a sleeper pick. Not really a sleeper pick, but like a dart throw. Like, maybe he will ball out. And then Anthony Richardson's interesting. Okay, this is the only team that I'm like... The thing is, I respect... There's only like a few people I respect in this league. And this is the only one that I think matches me, like, on paper. Because I think on paper, I just have, like, the most dominant team. Like, my team's the sexiest, I would say, on paper. Just with the names. I'm not saying, like, oh, I have no holes. I know the flaws in my team. I accept it. I drafted totally different this year. I went straight upside, bro. That's all you got to do. But, yeah, Diggs curves left, man. Justin Fields, Bijan. I love James Cook this year. I fucking love him. Not because I think he's going to run the ball a million times. He averaged 6 yards a fucking carry last year when he did run the ball. And when the ball's in his hands, great things happen. Obviously, Stephon Diggs, he's basically getting most of the offensive output from the Buffalo Bills in general, who's going to end as a top 5 offense. So he's getting all that production from 2 players. But you can say, like I always say, well, on their bad days, what the fuck are they going to do? I think they'll be okay with Stephon Diggs and James Cook. Like, James Cook is going to get 4 to 5 dump-offs and get you 10 points somehow. So I'm not high on DK Metcalf. I never will be. I think his ceiling is what he was last year. What was he? With like 16? There you go. Look at me. Yeah, I just think that's his ceiling because he's not a good route runner. Tyler Lockett's on the other side, and now he has Jackson Smith and Jigba. And maybe this is his year where he gets an ungodly amount of touchdowns. I've never been high on DK. Just haven't. Christian Kirk, a good pickup. I just believe in Calvin Ridley more. But Christian Kirk is coming off, what, a 1,000-yard season? Easily a 1,000-yard season, right? Yeah, I thought he was awesome last year. He was fun to watch. But as you can see, I mean, his target share is nuts. 18, 27, 36. I mean, target share was crazy. You see the ups and downs of Christian Kirk. The 8 points, the 2 points, the 7 points. Like, he needs him a bomb to get going. You know what I mean? I really feel that. Well, I don't even know if anybody's team compared. What the fuck? Ain't nobody fucking with me, huh? And then TJ Hawkinson, good pickup, got his contract. He's obviously going to get the ball, mostly with no number 2 option out there other than like Jordan Addison, who I got KJ Osborne. I was just praying that chemistry with Kirk, would do him good. A.J. Dillon, David Njoku, I like those. Zay Jones isn't a bad pick either. And then Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I don't really care about depth here. Because it does matter in a sense, but for me it personally doesn't, because over the last 2 years in this league, I've realized that whoever I want on the waivers I can basically get, because everybody thinks they're in title contention and they stop picking up people, which is fucking hilarious. All right, here are the rankings, man. I took a shower. I haven't even taken a shower. I'm off work, finishing up the video. So we're doing something different this year. I'm not going to rate these 1 through 10. I'm not, because I think there is just a clusterfuck of teams. Like, to me, if I was ranking 2 through 6, they could all be 2 through 6. All right. So we're going tier 1. The name of the tier is the sexiest, flashiest. Can't help but tell my mom, blame it on having the first pick, but can't help that it's fucking amazing and can't help to admit that it's amazing. Okay? That's my team. I am tier number 1. And for you motherfuckers that say I'm just being cocky, bruh, I ranked my team, 6 or 7 last year? 6 or 7. That's what I rated my team. I knew last year my team wasn't good, and this year it's popping off the page. It just is. And like I said, you're going to have question marks at running back, but I just think my running quarterback and my wide receivers are what they are. All right? They are what they are. Now, excuse me, just ate great meal enchiladas, by the way. Eat a dick. Tier 2. Now, there's only 2 teams in this tier, championship contenders on paper. Now, when I go and look at these teams, I have Andy and Anthony in this category in tier 2. I know a lot of you are screaming at your phone. What about me? What are you talking about? I'll get to the explanations. All right. To me, Anthony's starting lineup isn't his starting lineup because I'm telling you, he's going to end up starting Drake London or Cortland Sutton at his flex, if not substituting both of those guys in, who I'm high on, by the way. This has to do with my personal opinion of the players. That's all this has to do with. Just check the webcam. Looks like I have a humongous gut. I'm actually the lowest I've been in years. Anyways, just getting the insecurity out of the way. Yeah, and Andy's team, man. I know Andy has the reputation to me of not being that great of a fantasy player. If we really go look at Andy's team history, by the way, that one last year, actually, if he didn't just give up throughout the season, like he did not put his players in or go pick up people, I wouldn't have made the playoffs and he would have. Like, Andy always drafts a pretty decent team, but that's the thing, guys. Y'all also have to not take it personally because I think there are 2 or 3 people in this league, 4 maybe, that can manage laps around the other players. Like me last year, once again, I shouldn't be able to make the playoffs. The year before that, I shouldn't have gotten third when Christian McCaffrey, first-round draft pick, Calvin Ridley, second-round draft pick, basically didn't play, but, I mean, Christian McCaffrey played 7 games. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't have made the playoffs, but I'm a good drafter with rookies, and I just cook up during the year. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of, Mike and LD are 2 of those dudes who I think are very good managers, and so that's my tier 2. And tier 3, playoff teams, like guaranteed to me playoff teams with upside, it is Bates, Michael, LD, and Jason. Now, let's go through these teams so y'all just don't get mad at me. One, let me just say this. I thought LD's team, last year was horrible, and look what happened, right? Look what happened, right? So the reason I don't like LD's team, and this is the only reason, it's nothing crazy. All right, I'm very low on Aaron Jones. I'm very low on J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, bro, he has had 4 knee surgeries in 3 years. I'll say it again. Jonathan Taylor may not play a football game this year. There's just a lot of things involved in that, and I don't want any Buccaneer. I don't know if we score fucking 20 touchdowns this year. Okay? I don't know if we do that. So I don't want any fucking parts of it. But the reason I say upside, look, he has Jamar Chase. He has Garrett Wilson, who in my opinion are both going to finish as top 7 wide receivers. They could both be 1 and 2. That's the potential you have with those guys. Kyle Pitts is due to show his talent, right? He's due for that. And then, once again, these benches are whatever. Somebody's going to have a bench player pop off or not. I'm going off what I'm seeing on paper right now. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And I've always been a Joe Mixon fan. I thought he was injury prone, but I was incorrect on that a couple years ago just because he got hurt that one year. They sat him out. All that shit happened. But I am a Joe Mixon guy in that offense. And this may be the year he falls off with all the he almost got cut shit. Whatever happened with those kids in a gun. I don't know what happened. And then I'm super high on Deshaun Watson this year. I think he's going to end as a top 10 QB. But that's me projecting upside for him. You could go the total opposite way and just go off what you saw last year with him. I had him on my fantasy team. You could go, nah, he's dog shit now. So there's that. Michael's team. Listen, I started looking at Michael's roster deeper, actually, I didn't look at him till today or yesterday. I should say. Where the fuck? Oh, it's the first team. You really don't have a flaw in Michael's team. I know this is not his actual roster now, but I'm going to keep it up. So you can say Jamal Williams, once again, is, I don't know about Jamal. I don't know about Jamal Williams, but he's going to be the number 1 running back for 3 weeks. So there's that. Dallas Goedert, a real hot name in the streets for tight ends. If you're not tight end 1 through 3, you're really not going to make a crazy impact. Yes, there is a difference between that because with tight ends that end in the top 5, they really have those games where they get 2 touchdowns or whatever. Like a blow-up game. And I think Dallas Goedert will have that. Let me move this mic away from my fucking face. Jesus. Debo Samuel. I'm super high on Debo. I don't know why people aren't. I just am. Amari Cooper, once again, super proven. Chris Olave, like, with this wide receiving core alone, you're kind of like, damn, are his RBs loaded? No. But the reason is because Cooper Cup's out. And that's the whole thing is Mike's team is depending on Cooper Cup. Like anybody else's team would be depending on their first round draft pick. But now they are saying he may go to IR. Once again, I think this is setting up for a horrific situation for Michael. And it's going to be a bailout. It's going to be a bailout argument for him, and I'm proud of him for doing it. It's the best way to go. You go out with a bailout argument. Listen, I drafted him for his upside. He got hurt, man. Can't predict these things. It's not my fault the Rams fucking suck. Like, I'm actually for that. Who else did I say? Bates. Listen, I've always thought Bates is a middle of the pack guy, and he is. Now, this is why. I hate Rashad White, and he's on my team. We have one of the worst O-lines in the NFL, but at the same time, everybody else is saying he's a breakout candidate this year. Maybe I'm the idiot, so I'll keep that there. You're either totally in on him or totally out on the whole team. And then Brandon Cooks. I think I've kind of got a better feel for Brandon Cooks now. Does that make sense? I think his role is unknown with the Cowboys, but I kind of get it, right? You're kind of projecting, all right, well, he's going to need somebody else to throw to. If you think Michael Gallup's trash, which I'm not saying he's good, but we really don't know what he is considering he tore his ACL. And Brandon Cooks has just been a really good wide receiver throughout his career. I've said this 100 times, bro. Like, he's 1,000 yards every year. I think he almost got 1,000 yards on the fucking Texans last year, and he missed a lot of games. Let me go look, because I don't even know if that's even close to being right. Let's see. See, I had Brandon Cooks. Dude, please just let me click on it. Yeah, I mean, 82. Let me do the math in my head. Is that what I'm doing? I would say from these numbers, he wasn't on pace to go for 1,000. I would have to do the math. But it's just like that's what he does. He's 1,000-yard receiver most of the years in his career. No matter where he goes, changing teams all the time. I fuck with him. But I still think that's a hole. And once again, with T. Higgins, he's just like, to me, there's no chance of him getting to a top 12 wide receiver, but there's no chance of him falling below 20. Does that make sense? Like, he's a safe floor, but not a high ceiling guy, I would say, like, consistently, if that makes sense. Like, you're looking at him, he's probably going to get you 6 for 80 most weeks, but you want him to put on a touchdown on top of that. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And I think he has some wild cards down here with Jahan Dotson and Antonio Gibson. Like I said, we don't know who the starting running back is in that system. Bruh, that might end up turning out well. And then Jason. So I love Jason's top 4. I love it, mostly because he got Bijan in the second round. So I don't hate the pick as much, and I'm not going to repeat what I think about rookie running backs. I'm all in on James Cook. That could be wrong because he's an unproven asset, right? He's an unproven fantasy player, so we don't know. The thing is DK Metcalf and Christian Kirk. Once again, DK is like T. Higgins to me, where he's not going to go below like probably 18 to 20, but he's not going to be like number 5 or number 6. You know what I mean? That's just, how many times am I going to say it, you fucking bozo? Okay? That's what I'm saying. Christian Kirk is now the number 2 in that offense to me. I think it's blatantly obvious with the offseason reports, but that could bring in 1,000 yards. But once again, the inconsistency of Christian Kirk is that Brandon Ayuk has been a decently reliable fantasy option, but he has those weeks where he's just not involved because that's how their offense runs. It's Debo, Christian, Kittle. And yes, Brandon Ayuk will get his 4 for 80 and a touchdown some weeks, but I'd rather not rely on that. And I do love David Njoku. I don't know how he starts him. I just don't know how he starts him. And then A.J. Dillon. I like A.J. Dillon better than Aaron Jones. I'm not saying he's going to finish above him in fantasy. I think they will have closer rankings than people think. Like, He's going to be right there with Aaron Jones, in my opinion, if he gets those touchdowns that he should have gotten last year on the goal line. And that's that, guys. All right. Into tier 4. Call it the Pornhub tier. That's what I wrote here. I'm just saying I wrote it. You got a lot of holes in your team. Justin, he already said it. And this isn't me shitting on Justin. There's only 10 teams in this league. Right? There's only 10 teams in the fucking league. All right? Your first 3, perfect. Justin, Saquon, Derek, looking great. I'm not even that low on Keenan Allen. Once again, I hate the Bucs. Michael Thomas, like Justin said, old and washed. We don't know what Michael Thomas is anymore. Darren Waller, injury prone. I think Travis Etienne has super high upside. But I don't know how much I'm relying on his health after. I know it's the year after, but coming off that Achilles tear, I'd have to see it. If Jerry Jeudy ever becomes 100%, that is going to be his starting wide receiver in place of Michael Thomas. And I think Jerry Jeudy would be in for a damn good year when he comes back, right? CD's nuts. That is not Andy. That's another guy with the same name but more immature. Deion Jackson is his starting running. Hello? Deion Jackson. This team may be worse than Lucas's. I'm not even trying to be mean. Okay? I'm not. I didn't look this deep into it. He might go in the last category with Lucas. Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, great, and Tyreek Hill. I'm kind of off of Tyler Lockett. I know a lot of people are still on him. With Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett's getting up there in age. He's more just like a streak route threat. Like, you're not going to see Tyler Lockett pull in like 9 catches for 100. He's like 4 catches, 120 and a touchdown. That's what he does. George Pickens, I think people have gone off offseason hype and raw ability and super dope highlights, and I think he's great. I just think Deontay Johnson is going to get a shit ton of targets. I'm not saying he's going to get 170 of them again, but I also don't think he's going to drop 55 balls and not have a touchdown. That's all I'm saying. Dalton Schultz isn't the worst pick in the world, but I stay away from teams with rookie quarterbacks. To be honest, it's just not my thing. Yeah, and Houston just sucks. And they'll be down a lot, so he may get a lot of opportunity for dump-offs. And I think Dalton Schultz is a talented player. James Conner, not touching a Cardinal. I've already gone over this. George Kittle's over there. I don't know why he's not starting for him, and he has Dalton Schultz in. I could have the wrong lineup here. Odell Beckham isn't a terrible pickup. Just don't rely. I can't rely on his health. Juju Smith-Schuster's knee is horrific, and I've just never liked him. Tyler Boyd is like the 4th option in the offense. I actually like DJ Shark. I actually like his value a lot this year. And I don't mean he's going to finish top 15, but I could totally see him finishing like wide receiver 20, 25, and he's just going to be sitting on your bench having pretty consistent, decent production. So there's that. And then the 5th tier is called mental retardation. And this one is the QB whisperer. And you know what? His team is not worse than CD's nuts, by the way. I just wanted to roast Lucas. Patrick Mahomes, and I don't even know if it's the team, but how it was drafted. Does that make sense? Like, when I was alive in the draft, I was like, he just took Patrick in the 2nd round. But Christian McCaffrey, Patrick, great. Dameon Pierce is great. I think DeAndre's a little washed. I've already gone through all this, not touching a Cardinal. I'm big on DeAndre Swift. And then his bench, he has a rookie, a Cardinal, a rookie, a backup to Dameon Pierce, which is smart. I like Deuce Vaughn, but he's a rookie, doesn't matter. I don't know if Jeff Wilson Jr. even comes back from this injury. But yeah, Lucas is at the bottom with CD's nuts. And I think Justin's just kind of in his own tier, where I think he could make playoffs. I haven't seen Justin manage a team before. I haven't seen none of that. And it's not like Darren Waller and Mike Evans don't have some upside. I think Darren Waller upside is crazy. I think his touchdowns could be close to double digits this year if it goes the way the preseason was, by the way. And Mike Evans is Mike Evans. He's going for a decade straight of 1,000 yards. So that could also happen. Okay, so those are the rankings. That's the video. Shouldn't have been this long, but hey, I redid it. Whatever. I love you all. I'm out this bitch. Peace.